Hello and welcome, it's Barbara from Vienna, Austria. This is my second voiceover for one of my ASMR videos, and I am completely surprised how well my first voiceover last week did. The views are double of the regular ASMR videos, so that tells me a whole lot about your preferences. So I think what I'm going to do is I have a few more already filmed. So I'm gonna keep, for the next few Sundays, I will keep having both versions, and eventually I will move over to only having the voiceover, and then it will be much easier for me to record as well, because then I don't have to worry about cars passing by or my freezer humming or my breathing. So I hear you, and I'm sorry for anyone else who has really been enjoying the ASMR videos. As I said, there will be, I think, 4 more after this one, but then I'll probably just do the voiceover. So let me tell you what I'm doing here on the screen. So in the last episode, I was working on this CD cover that you see on the left, and I had cut out the hole for the window, and I had this part left over, and that is wallpaper. So I wanted to use that on the opposite page, and I wanted it to symbolize a moon. And I'm making a super simple collage here using some of the fun collage elements from the collage book I recently got. I will have a link for you below. It's a really fun book. I'm really enjoying using them. And so then I added a skyscraper and this howling wolf. And looking at the shading through the video, I see that actually the shading is completely wrong. I mean, it is going in the right direction because the moon is on the left and the shadow is going to the right, but I think I should have just made the shadow all the way underneath his body and not just on the 3 legs. But okay, it is what it is. That is our artistic freedom. And then I looked for a quote online, something for the moon and howling and wolves and everything, and I found this one, which is actually exactly the opposite of what my collage is showing, because it reads, "There are nights when the wolves are silent and only the moon howls." But I still kind of really like that I could put it on the collage here, even though it's the exact opposite. It's just another form of expression. And so I had just printed that on some transparent paper, and as you can see, I added it with 2 bronze eyelets to my page. Interestingly, those eyelets did not hold up, so I ended up gluing the back sides down to the paper to make sure that they don't come apart. And just to add some more interest on the page, I also added some twine, just threaded that through the 2 eyelets and made a bow with that, just because I thought it looked cute. It doesn't really have a function. So now you can then just lift the transparent paper, and I like that you can see through it, so you can see the collage, but you can also lift it to have a closer look at it. So here you see the finished page. So you see that was a super simple page. I just love having the moon like that. So now I'm moving on to another page, and I'm just looking for a page I want to work on. It's quite obvious. I think at this point I don't work in this book in any kind of order. I like just going back and forth. Sometimes I even add elements to a page that I have been working on previously. So I decided to use this page here, the coffee dyed one. And I'm starting off by adding a collage that I had made a long time ago. Actually, this was a traveler's notebook page, but then I kind of never had a traveler's notebook to put it in. And I'm going to add that just by putting glue around 3 sides to make a pocket. And by the way, if you're interested in how to make a tassel like that for your glue bottle, I used a tutorial by Tracy Fox. It's quite an old tutorial. I will link that for you. That really helped me to make mine, and it was so much fun. So now I have this pocket here. And now I'm going to bend over the piece that was kind of standing out still. And by folding this over, I'm creating another tuck spot on this other side. And I'm also going to punch a half circle in the middle. I kind of like doing that for a lot of my tuck spots and also pockets. And I will also be doing that on the other side where I have the pocket. Now I'm just inking around those edges. That little tiny inker that you just saw, I bought that locally, but I believe Tim Holtz has them as well. So now I'm just gluing down the top and the bottom to create this tuck spot. Going back now and adding the half circle to the pocket. I kind of like that, to have a pocket on one side and then the other side you have this tuck spot. I don't know, I just kind of came up with that randomly. And now I have this beautiful snippet roll that I made also quite a long time ago. I've been kind of hoarding it, but now I decided this is the perfect spot to use some of it. So it's so handy to have these accessible, and then you just grab it and put it on your page, and it helps creating a page really quickly actually. So I'm going to just glue that on, putting glue over the whole surface. When I film these ASMRs, I'm looking for it not to only be pleasing acoustically, but also visually. So even when I just put glue on something, I try to put it on aesthetically. Yeah, these are the sort of things you kind of pay attention to if you film ASMR. It's really quite interesting. So now I'm just adding a piece of lace that has been coffee dyed in the middle there for another accent. And then I just had the feeling that that coffee dyed paper was too plain. So I recently found this beautiful feather stencil locally. So unfortunately I can't link it for you. And I'm just going over this with my vintage photo, and I thought it just makes such a pretty addition to a page. And then I used some of the smaller feather images to add to my snippet roll as well. Really happy with how that turned out. And I'm adding this tag that I had made in another video. This was one of my Pinterest challenges. I think maybe it was the first one. I will link it down below for you. Actually, I'll link the whole playlist for my Pinterest inspired projects. A lot of fun to try. And here I have a beautiful wooden box in which I keep some, I guess you can say, experimental papers, various book pages that I have just been having fun experimenting on. And I'm trying to choose one of these. They have beautiful crinkly sounds, which you could hear a lot better in my other ASMR video without the voiceover. And I have a hard time deciding because a lot of these are beautiful. I think that might be the one I choose. Yeah, that's the one. So this I'm going to mount on a cardstock to give it more stability, because this is going to be a big tag or journaling card. So you see here, did you see this wavy movement of my glue? So now I'm just using my, what is it called? I forgot the name of this tool. Can you believe it? Anyway, I was trying to just flatten it out. I did want to give it some rough edges by using my tearing ruler. I have those linked down below for you as well. Hopefully they are available. They are sometimes very hard to find. So this is my bowl with the cutouts from this collage book, and you can see it's a huge pile. I've spent hours and hours cutting these out, which I don't mind actually. It's something which I find is quite relaxing, and you can do well while watching something. So I wanted to use a bird, and I'm trying to pick the perfect bird for this, and I love the birds on this background. I wanted to use one with more of a neutral color so that the background would stand out. So the background obviously has been splattered with coffee and also some beautiful turquoise watercolor. So now I'm looking for some more neutral tones to add a little bit more interest without covering that whole beautiful background. So I found this piece, which is also coffee dyed. It's a vintage piece of paper, and this kind of design you get by adding ink into your wet coffee. Once your paper is saturated with the coffee, you can add ink to it. I have a video where I show that as well. I will link that for you also. And then I also add this scrap of wallpaper on top of that for a little more interest. And really loving the neutrals of this collage. And yeah, I take one more piece. So this is a piece that is left over from another project where I did a lot of stenciling and also just some acrylic paint over that in the same blue tone or a similar blue tone that I have on the background. And I'm just trying to find the perfect location for this scrap. And then I wanted to add another piece of accent in that same blue, and I just have this piece of book page on which I did some more stenciling because I had some paint left over. And I will just add this bit of a leaf. Move the pieces around a little bit more till I feel it's balanced. Here I have my blue triangle. I don't know if you can see it. Top right, middle left, and kind of like center bottom. That forms a beautiful triangle. And so it seems balanced to me. And now as a final touch for this collage, I wanted to also add a sentiment. So I have these quotes, these artist quotes in my shop. I will link those for you as well. And I'm looking for the perfect one, and I believe I choose one that says something like, don't strive for perfection, for you will never reach it anyway, something along those lines. And I believe it's by Salvador Dali. It's too small for me to read at the moment, but I will show it close up in a bit. I'm just using my flat brush to give it a little bit more of a vintage look because it was very bright white, which really didn't go with my collage. Have no fear of perfection, you'll never reach it. That's it. Then I'm putting this into the pocket. And it's sticking out quite a bit, but I was totally fine with that. So now I'm just showing you what we've done today. So we have the simple collage with the quote over it. We have our little tuck spot with the snippet roll and our tag. And we have a pocket with a new journaling card. Just gonna close up my beautiful journal from Nadia. I'm really enjoying working in this so much. So thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this little voiceover. Hope to see you back here next week and next Sunday for the next episode. Love you guys.